While the annual cybersecurity spending continues to increase, the number of breaches are also continue to rise. The reality is that even though companies are still investing in the more and more in cybersecurity solutions, the speed at which the breaches are producing are also increasing. So whether it's a mistake, it's a hack, or it's a breach within your organization, improper data exposure can actually lead to public disclosure, fines, and also loss of reputation. So we have to start thinking about what needs to be changed to help this imbalance and show a return on our investments on all these cybersecurity spends. So I'm Eduard Seseras. I'm pre-sales lead consultant at Help Systems, and today I'm gonna talk about how to protect your data exchange with wise sense and approach. First of all, I'm introducing myself. As I mentioned, I'm Eduard Seseras, pre-sales consultant at Help Systems, more than 10 experience in IT and security projects. I'm working at Help Systems. At Help Systems, we are a software company, okay, based in the United States. We have more than 25 offices all around the world. We have partnership with Isaca and also other well-known organizations. And we have, as I mentioned, presence all around the globe. Especially in Hungary, we have a partnership with EMIP companies, so we can have also local support from EMIP. Our solutions are mainly focused on two big product lines. One is automation, and the other one is cybersecurity. And this is where our company is actually investing and going towards that direction. Okay, so having more and more broader portfolio of solutions for cybersecurity, especially focused on data security. Okay, well, this is what we're going to discuss today about how to protect all the data exchange and file exchange within your organization and third parties. Okay, but for you to know that we have also solutions for infrastructure security, protecting all your IT investment, and also identity and access management. So as I was mentioning at the beginning, we all know that data is the new oil. So this is not a new message. Okay, so the value of the data is increasing with every year. Data companies are the ones that are the data-driven companies are the ones that are benefiting of having the most actual information to interact with their prospects and customers, for example. Okay, so with real-time analysis and actions, predictive-driven operations, also can forecast the results and focus their innovation towards that direction. So it's a predictive. So this is the companies that are using the data are benefiting of having more information, exploiting more information, extracting more information from the data to act towards the trends, and this is the ones that are gonna make sure that they will survive in the future. So data is getting more and more valuable. We have more and more data that is generated, so that let's say that there is a complexity. We all know that there is a complexity to manage and handle all this huge data that is being produced by users, but also by applications, but mainly by users. Okay, so we can have multiple kind of data that is produced. Each kind of data has to be treated and handled specially or specifically. Okay, so from personal data, okay, with regulations for personal identificational data and information from people, from human beings, from persons. So GDPR, the regulation that talks specifically about that, but also you will have in financial data. Okay, so for the all the financial data and also intellectual property. Okay, so about your own specific designs and plans and codes for from the companies from the source code. So both the regulations are dedicating a lot of efforts to protect and put a lot uh, let's say a framework on protecting the data, but also, as I mentioned, attackers, hackers are also up to speed on all these advances. So there are some challenges there, and also the data that we are producing. we are sharing the data. It's not something new that companies, we are exchanging data. We are connecting our company with providers, with customers, with business partners in general, with training partners, and we have to change data. We have to change files, okay, through multiple channels. Okay, we have multiple ways to do so, but we may say that in general we use, our employees will use email like a standard default channel to exchange the data, but you may do it through automated scripts. You may have like automated, or sorry, file exchange platforms or applications. You may have cloud services like Dropbox, OneDrive, etc., to exchange all these files with third parties. So also in this sense, we have more and more data we're generating, and users are generating more and more data. Data are, we have different kind of sensitive information or from different kinds and sources, and also we have multiple ways to change that. So it's a challenge, of course, to control all this tsunami of data. Okay, we call that tsunami. So when we're talking about protecting all this data, which are the main challenge, which are the main challenges that we have to face to protect this data that is being produced. So first of all, we have to the first aspect here is that organizations are at risk for quite a lot of reasons. Okay, so first of all, I would say that the data is in general unidentified. There is no context. Okay, there is no identity for that data. Okay, for these files that are being generated, created by multiple employees at massive pace. Okay, so applications like Office 365, SharePoint, OneDrive, users are creating petabytes of information and data every day. So and the challenge here is for organizations that they don't know what sensitive data exists, where is it stored. Okay, so they don't know if it's vulnerable, if it's unstructured. So it's really a complex, it's a complex situation here. I would say 80% of the data of the information of a company is data. Okay, so it can be located in multiple endpoints or multiple cloud situations. So the complexity is about companies do not understanding or locating where sensitive data is in which formats. Also, another challenge is that there is no sharing guardrails within the data we handle. Okay, so organizations are really exposed with no frameworks of protection in general, as the data is being exchanged or shared both internally among employees, but also externally with training partners. Okay, so most companies will use solutions and have invest in solutions like, for example, DLP. But the problem here is that as they are getting false positive for in general terms, they are not able, companies or departments are not able to distinguish which alerts or which false positive or which information are really benign or not hazardous or not really sensitive data which is produced, or data that is exactly at risk. Okay, so as they do not, all these false positives will make them to turn down this level of security because there are less alerts, and then it means that as you don't have a very accurate solution, what you do is you leave all the information flow, and this is a danger. And then for sure about the third, I would say the third risk, it's about uh, the user friction. So it's about putting, again, security layers, which will make the user experience cumbersome, or at least you are putting more stoppers for users and more obstacles. So this means that users will receive a lot of obstacles, and this is a problem, because when user has the choice, they will always pick the fast path. Okay, so if you are a security uh, responsible at your company, you should first, of course, one of the concerns you, and this is basic, but which is you should make sure and realize the most important data that your company is dealing with. Okay, so this is very, I mean, it's a key. It's the first step. It's about knowing what is relevant for your company. Then, who can access this information? Okay, so who do you have any enforcement policies to implement these access rules or access rights? Okay, is everyone aware of the data that they're working with? Okay, so do you have any data management process or workflows established in your company? Are you protected against external threats or malicious actors or data breaches? Okay, do you have any security protection for your data, or on how users are sharing this data? Okay, so how are you sharing this data with only employees internally, or are you handling or are you managing and sharing all this data with third parties, with again providers, customers? So these are key points and the basic and the cornerstones of how you can have to predict it. First, you have to know which is your personal first, which is your important data at your company, who can access it, okay, what do you do to protect it, and who you're sharing the data with. So our proposition at Help Systems is to provide a holistic suite, so like holding one solution to understand, govern, and share the data that you're managing and that you're processing and generating. Okay, so you have to provide a solution that protects the data during all its life cycle. Okay, so again, from the user that is generating and creating the file. Okay, if it's a Word file, if it's a Excel file. Okay, to the last step, which be both sharing or archiving that document. Okay, and we have to do it by means of tools that are easy to use for the end user. Okay, so again, you need to provide solutions that are easy to use, not cumbersome, so that the users do not take the detour. Okay, the fast way and the unsecure way. So for us, our approach is to have to understand the data. Okay, understand where is the data, okay, when is it created, okay, and what what data is it going to be stored in your multiple file systems or storage. Then about the second goal would be to uh, control that data, which means to put classification to understand and locate where and what kind of data is it created and stored at every time. Okay, you can do it by two ways. Okay, you will know the source and the of your data. You would have two ways. One, it's about classification, so adding because of manual intervention from the user, but also maybe with automation tools, put some context on that file, okay? Or so you can have multiple ways to do so, or you can analyze the content. So with machine learning, with artificial intelligence, you can put mechanisms that will detect and classify through the content of the file which kind of data this is, okay? And then, of course, you have to put mechanisms to share the data with security, with encryption, and also with a full control and full audit of everything, every single file that is getting in or out the company. Okay, so it's about understanding the data to govern it and handle it so that you can share it with security. So how does it work? How does our approach work? So basically, we can put solutions and solutions both for data at rest, for data in use, and also in motion. And we work with three different kind of products. Okay, so first layer is about data classification. Second one, it's about adaptive data loss prevention. And third, which is about sharing the files, it's about secure managed file transfer. So let's dig in a little bit in each one of each, and let's understand how it works. So as I mentioned, first step for every single data protection project should be about understanding the data that you're generating, that you're working with. Okay, so data classification will be the tool to do so. Okay, so these are solutions that will put metadata at the file so that you have information about its sensitivity, the privacy, the distribution. Okay, you can do it manually, you can do it through, as I mentioned, automatically. And here at Help Systems, we have two great brands to do so. So these are Titus and Bolton Gems, where you can choose two leaders in this marketplace to do so. Second layer, as I mentioned, it's about putting the DLPs, data loss prevention, that will allow you to hygienize, to put hygienization on your files. Okay, so make sure that you don't have both for receiving and sending out. So it's, if you receive data, you want to make sure that you don't have any risk, malicious content, ransomware, etc. And you will minimize also the disruption. You need to solution that minimize the disruption in the user's perspective, from the user experience, which means that you have to remove the risk without blocking the file. So if you have solutions that do that clean the files without blocking the transfer, without blocking the file share, that's a good solution. And at Help Systems, we can with ClearShift brand to do so. And last, that's about sharing the files. So it's about selecting a platform, a managed file transfer solution, which will allow you to secure, encrypt every single file transfer that, or every single file exchange that your users, but also your programs and applications will do. Putting security, having a centralized administration tool to do so, and of course, having a full audit trail of every single file that is getting inside and outside your company. Okay, so in very quickly, we'll see a little bit of details of each of the steps. So the first step, it's about data classification. So how does it work? So basically, the first thing is about when the data is created. So it's users create their data, and when the users store a file on every server or any application. Okay, it's about detecting it. Okay, so then you can put classification, you can define, you can force the user to specify which kind of file is it, if it's sensitive, if it's private, is it restricted. Okay, so you can force the user to do so, but also you will have automatic ways to do so with data at rest. Okay, so it means that you will have an engine that will detect this data. Will With machine learning, it will detect with the content of the data which kind of data is it, and then it will be classified. Okay, and classified means to put metadata, okay, on the file so that it can be used in the next steps for other to do something with that kind of data. Okay, but the first step is to define which kind of data or with which kind of document we're working with, both with metadata but also with visual marks. I guess that's it doesn't matter. So this will enable specific and actionable controls on the files, the data. Okay, so classifying the data will allow to put specific and actionable controls. Okay, and it will allow organizations to bring their data security policies to life while not impeding the flow of the business. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, so enforcing policies that protect sensitive information when are shared via emails, via other cloud solutions, etc. So this is the first step. Okay, so classification definitely is the foundation for all the data security. Okay, when you have the data classified, okay, you can, as I mentioned, you can do other data. You can put in place other security solutions such as DLPs, rights management, and encryption. But the first step is always to classify. The next step, as I mentioned, was about having DLP. But our approach is to have an adaptive DLP, which means that you have, with our solution, you have a deep content inspection engine working for you, analyze, so the DLP can read the metadata that is generated by, for sure, in this case, a data classification tool, but also especially for receiving files. If you're receiving files, remember that it's about sending out, but also receiving files. So when you receive files, you want to detect if there is personal data in there, if there are sensitive files, and normally you will not have the metadata. So you have with ClearSheet a deep content inspection engine that will scan the document, will analyze the content of the document to detect which kind of information there is. Okay, so it will detect it for you, and we have a really level of depth and granularity that is really unique to ClearShift. Okay, so it will drill down into into the data, into the latest level of the data, and will locate active code. So basically, we can do several multiple controls. Okay, it's about sanitizing the document, removing any risk. So it's about removing ransomware, malware, viruses. Well, and also, why not metadata? For example, if you're sending out the files, if you have classified the data, the file, you will have metadata that will specify which kind of data, which has been the user that created the document. You don't want to share that. So an advanced adaptive DLP will remove also the metadata. Okay, so this is not interesting to share. Metadata actually includes a lot of information which can be exploited by hackers. So you can remove that. Also, we can, and this is very important from the ClearShift approach, is about also replacing sensitive content. So if we detect that because of your security policies, that file contains any specific sensitive data, like personal identification data, or a credit card number, or a social security number, whatever, we can not only detect that and block the transfer, which could be one option, but also we can replace that sensitive piece of information. We can mask it, and the transfer will go on. So we do the DLP with a non-stop and block approach. Okay, so we replace the sensitive content, and the file will keep on going, but with the sensitive information masked, okay, replaced. Sorry for that. Okay, and last but not least, it's about how we can share this file. Okay, so which channels we can use to exchange the files. So manage file transfer will streamline secure exchange of data between systems, employees on your side, and from the other side, customers, trading partners. Okay, so both internally and externally. Okay, so it's about a solution, an exchange platform that will allow you to securely exchange these files. Okay, everything from a centralized administration, so you don't have to rely on different applications, everything in one single place, where you can have also full traceability and control of the file transfers. Okay, so you don't have to go multiple loggings and applications to see which file has been sent or shared to whom, only one single place. And also include automation engine if you need to replace scripting, or you want to just leave the machines, like say, in an intended way, how you can send the data. Okay, so we can include an automation engine to do so. It includes a managed file transfer solution like GoAnywhere will include everything you need to both send and receive files using secure channels, everything from a centralized administration. Okay, so why MFT is important? Because you want to protect the sensitive data, because you need to make sure that your data is encrypted while being sent to the training partners. You want to have an efficient management of the whole file exchange. Okay, so instead of having multiple pieces, you want to have one single tool or solution that will allow you to define new transfers, that will allow you to also uh, enable multiple ways for users to exchange the data. Okay, one single place. It's about having robust operations, especially for automatic file transfers. Okay, so it's about putting mechanisms that will put retries, notifications, so that you have less or a more robust solution with less incidents, so that you can basically have a better control, and you will reduce the amount of incidents, and you will increase the level of service that will provide to the users. Okay, and of course, everything with compliance, because as we have encryption, as we have uh, role-based security, as we have a full audit trail. We can build reports to prove the evidence and comply with the most strict regulations in terms of data protection. Okay, so this is our approach at health systems for data protection at file exchange. Thank you very much for your attention. It's been a pleasure from my side to participate in the Isaca in the Budapest event. Thank you very much and have a good day.